So a massive shock for the UK caravan and motorhome market. We sort of hinted at things were possibly moving this way slightly a couple of weeks ago. But at that moment in time, we never actually dreamt that it would be actually one of the motorhome and caravan manufacturers that might be in trouble. So Elddis, the Erwinheimer UK group, have just announced a massive job cut. With nearly 200 jobs set to be cut across the board, from production, higher up levels, parts, etc. A lot of people have sort of blamed the massive increases in caravans and motorhomes on the manufacturers, on the dealers. Now, this just isn't simply true. The massive price increases was all down to a massive shortage and a massive demand. Obviously, when we get a shortage of supply and a bigger demand, prices go up. Now, unfortunately, the dealers and the manufacturers didn't really get to benefit from that, because the dealers had to pay more to get the stock and the manufacturers had to pay more to produce the stock. But actually, the manufacturers had an even bigger problem than the dealers. So while the dealers were seeing bigger empty spaces on the forecourts because of the shortage in supply, we couldn't actually get the amount of stock to supply the demand. Obviously, the new manufacturers couldn't get the parts to actually build the new supply. So actually, during COVID, Elddis have seen one of the biggest downturns in history. Now, they've reported that caravan sales are actually down to an 11-year low. So they're at an 11-year low in production, which is huge. That's a big issue that they're facing. They've also reported that motorhome sales on the new is down to a 13-year low. So while everyone was thinking that the caravan manufacturers and the caravan dealers were absolutely making a fortune during COVID, it wasn't the case. We did our video recently where we'd said about actually prices are now starting to come down, and a lot of the comments were sort of saying, good, I hope the greedy dealers go bust. They're the ones that made the prices go up. All the manufacturers were putting the prices up ridiculously, but the fact of the matter was that because we couldn't get the stock in the first place to supply that demand, we had to give a higher price to get the caravan in the first place, and the margins never really changed. Manufacturing, it was exactly the same. They couldn't actually even get the products to build the motorhomes or the caravans. So while things were absolutely booming in the used market, the dealers didn't really get to profit from that because our margins were the same. But actually, even though there's more people out there trying to buy the stock, we couldn't get the stock to supply that demand. And then the manufacturers couldn't even fall back onto used stock to be able to sell, whereas obviously as a caravan or a motorhome dealer, we could try and move our market and give a bit more, but manufacturers didn't have that option. So I think the big issue has come where the manufacturing prices have gone up. Obviously, all the cost of living prices, so wages now again are set to go up, and I think that might be a big point of why Elddis have now announced that they're going to actually make the cuts, or start making the cuts, before the wage increases start in April. Now, what is this going to do to the used market? Well, it depends. Elddis, fortunately, are backed by a massive company, so the chances of them actually getting into real trouble is quite limited. But obviously, they lost £4.5 million last year. Now, those sort of losses, you can't keep going and sort of pumping money back into a company that's losing that money. So something has got to change drastically. Obviously, by cutting the production lines down, cutting the staffing down, they're hoping that this is going to at least put a plaster over the issue at the moment. Now, you might have seen on our videos that we don't have a lot of Elddis product, unfortunately. Majority of our caravans and motorhomes are all the other makes, and there is one bit of an issue there, is that I think the past few years Elddis have suffered with a few more problems than a lot of the other manufacturers. I think customers have also found this, so if they've bought Elddis previously, they've been a little bit reluctant to buy Elddis in the future. Now, as dealers sort of get this news coming through, it definitely feels like, I think over the next 6 months, dealers are going to start actually incrementing a price decrease on the values of the Elddises on the caravans and the motorhomes, just because of the uncertainty. As I say, a lot of the dealers have already sort of been a little bit more reluctant to buy and take in the Elddis products over the last 12-18 months. For this next 6 months, I think we're going to see a bit more of a price decrease on the Elddis Caravans and motorhome models. That's just my view, but I do feel that that is possibly going to be something that we're going to see over this next couple of months. And obviously we're going to keep an eye on the market and see what happens, see what other news comes out about the Elddis brands, obviously the Compass brands within that as well. So it's going to be a tricky time. I don't think they're going to go bust. I think they're just going to try and cut everything back, hopefully get on top of the quality control issues of what they're sending out through the factory, and that can obviously then start to boost things again. But the problem is the damage already done? Is it too little too late? And the time's going to tell, and that's why I think for the next 6 months prices on the Elddis Caravans, motorhomes, Compass units are going to possibly see a bit of a downturn in prices, unfortunately. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hopefully we've brought this news to you fairly quickly and first. Let us know in the comments if you already knew about it. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm Mark at the Caravan Place.